Hey, all some interesting nerds here, and this is going to be a refresh of our Tamiya 801 XT. So essentially, I think it's prudent every gallon or so, you got to give your vehicles a little bit of love. I don't call this a rebuild for the simple fact that, in my mind, a rebuild is where you actually go through and you change the design, the parts, and things like that. Instead, what I'm going to do is take it 100% apart, inspect all the components and replace any worn or broken parts. I've got a whole lot of spare parts that I'm sure I'm going to have to probably implement and change all the fluids and all that good stuff. Additionally, I have kind of an issue that's interesting, one that I've never run into. I'll show you. Hopefully you guys can see it. Watch this wheel right here as I turn it. I go this direction and it just gets locked eventually. See? The rear is fine. In fact, it's a little bit too smooth. So we'll see what's up with it. So it's either my center diff or the front diff. Quick way to find out. Let's go and jump on that first. And then while this isn't a rebuild, I do want to have goals for it. Right, so if anybody out there is going to follow along or just watching to see, some things that they might be able to pick up, because this can carry over to any vehicle, obviously. There are tangible results that you should expect. So I'm not going to do this just to do it. I see it all the time. People will go through and they'll change their diff oil or shock oil, but they don't know why. They don't know what to expect. And I'll talk to people, I changed my diff oil to this and that. And really, that's, why did you select that? Oh, well, I understand it's fun to get in. I did the same thing when I was starting out. Well, I changed stuff all the time, but I took notes and I realized, okay, this is making it do this and that. So make sure you take notes on what you change and you fully understand why you're doing it. In my instance here, I want to take care of any known issues, such as differential right here. I want to make it tighter. So it's like a gong show if you listen to it. And I promise you that it's not the mesh. There's just some loose parts throughout there. It just needs to be locked down. And then I want it to make it smoother. As far as durability, I'm not concerned with that right now because that's not my goal. If I do see design issues in here, then yeah, I will certainly take that on as they occur. But again, the idea here is to just simply get the vehicle in tip-top shape. It's something you should do every gallon. Now, I have to be honest, this is the first one I've done on this vehicle. We don't have a lot. This is probably our least driven vehicle. I've got maybe 2 gallons on it. So it's definitely time. I'm gonna run into some issues. Again, if anyone else is thinking about doing this, it's really hard to estimate the amount of time it's going to take because you don't know what you don't know. So in other words, as I get in here, I'm going to find things I'm sure that I want to replace. A lot of items I already know up front I'm going to replace just because it's time. So it's an example, the fuel tank. I replace those every gallon regardless, just because I find it makes a big difference. Shock tower here is bent. Well, I found one on sale, so I'm going to take care of that. Little things, but as I go in, I'm going to find some stuff. I'm a little bit nervous, actually. Now, the way that I typically handle these is I break it into 3 different sections. Got the front clip, drivetrain, and the rear clip. And I just go through one by one. So with that, let's get after it and see what the hell's going on with this difference. So right off the bat, I see that this engine plates and even the engine mounts themselves starting to wear a little bit, starting to, get etched out. So that's going on the list. All right, and so simply just by feeling this right here, I believe instead of it being the differential, because it's certainly not the center diff, I'm going to predict that I probably threw a pin here somewhere. Let's take a look. Well, there's your problem. If you guys can see that pin right there. Hey, also interesting nerds here. Let's talk Savage clutch setups. Let's talk facts. Recently I was reading on one of these forums. I'm not going to name names yet because no one on there has gotten completely ignorant from what I can see, but let's just say that the forum is dedicated to the Savage and it's not Savage Central. There's some salty guys on Savage Central that know their stuff. Not saying this forum doesn't, but I was perusing the internet and I noticed that our dear friend old Ricky Bobby Lee had joined this forum, excuse me, and he posted up some things concerning the Savage and clutch setups. Well, all I can say is I guess we've kind of rubbed off on old Ricky Bobby because, you know, I'm sure he won't admit it, but the boy's gained some knowledge. Still, he's new on this forum, so obviously you're going to have, you know, the blowhards on there. They're going to try to bow up anybody that's new, right? Because if you're new to the forum, you don't know anything at all. You can't, you know, add any value. So it was interestingly enough, well, Ricky was helping a gentleman who's brand new to the hobby, doesn't have a lot of experience in clutch tuning, clutch setups for a Savage. He got a Buku. You know, might be a little bit advanced for someone brand new, but nonetheless, Ricky helped him out, gave him some straight up factual knowledge, intel. So I thought before we even get into that, let's do a real ad hoc unboxing. For anyone out there that is a Tamiya 801 XT guy, I think you will hopefully enjoy a refresh that I'm doing on it. It's not a rebuild. A rebuild, in my opinion, is where you change the design and all that good stuff, right? Instead, I'm just going 100% through it, front clip, drivetrain, rear clip, and making sure the parts are good, replacing the worn parts, and strengthening if I see fit, but really it's not so much durability, it's a matter of just keeping it tight and smooth. Consequently, a few things already I've seen, so I thought we'll just do a bit of an unboxing of what I'm going to be replacing. All right, first thing is a new front shock tower. One we have bent, my son bent it on the track a while ago. You know, it's obviously not that durable in my opinion. We've had much worse crashes, I thought, on a track without bending one, so thumbs down to the shock tower. But the way I see it, anything going forward I do to the suspension is going to be kind of a moot point if I'm tweaked like this. So if you're going to do it right. And in the rebuild, the refresh, whatever we're calling it, you'll kind of get my thoughts on plan B, I guess, if this goes. All right, next up is the 801 XT box O parts. I got a lot of box O stuff. I've got a box of air filters, a box O tanks, a box O pipes, a box O engines and pipes. And guys, this is my backup stuff, and I mean there's some pretty strong shit here. Excuse my French. We're talking Romas, clocked Novorossi 28, 5 B6. I got a B5 in here. I mean this is it's how we roll. I will never be outgunned in this hobby. This is the one thing I can control. Anyways, so with 801 XT, I found this guy on eBay and he was selling some 801 XT parts, and I thought, hey man, I could use a lot of those. I haven't even validated that I need them, but you'll see a lot of them are, once again, maintenance parts. Someday I'm going to replace them. They are, for the most part, specific to the truggy. Why not stock up? All right, this bag here I'm going to go through in detail in a moment. Radio tray. Actually, I will set the camera down. All right, clutch bell. Oh, air filter, neck, fuel line, the whole air filter assembly. Here, fuel tank. You can never have enough of these, even though the stock one's still going pretty good. Linkage. I use it for something. I got a whole lot of linkage. It's a very agnostic part, in my opinion. More linkage. Actually, no. They're screws here and pivot balls. Look at that. We have some clutch springs, bearings, and the nut right there. Look at that. Rock and roll. Whole clutch assembly, brake assembly, engine mounts. Those are already wearing on mine. I mean, the whole shebang. Collets, brake cams, and more of the radio tray. So don't want to say how much I spent, but I promise you I got a damn good deal. Now, the most important thing I was actually wanting, the whole thing I was wanting is in here, and it's the center diff mount. I'll tell why when I do the refresh. And I have to say, through all the things that this truck has been through, I mean, thus far, it's held up pretty damn good. It's certainly not a Hyper 7 or a Mugen or a Losi or anything like that. It's it's probably tied with the Savage with respect to durability right now. If there's anything specific that you gents want to see about this truggy as I go through it, let me know. I probably know this vehicle least of all of our vehicles. I said the same thing about the Savage a year ago, so I'll get to know it pretty well. I haven't given it any love at all since, really like a full 100% rebuild. This will be the first complete teardown of it since I built it. It'll be interesting to see what transpires. Other than that, I'm just going to blow through it and roll film, I guess, on anything that I see interesting, but certainly here to help what I have learned while I'm learning it. The goal is to get it tight, get it back to stock settings, and have fun, because this truggy is a blast. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.